Hi everybody, welcome to this video. If you're new here, my name is Mariah. I am an American married to a Slovenian. I live in Slovenia and I'm gonna break down this chicken for you. But this is kind of the first time I'm doing a voiceover, so bear with me if I'm doing a really bad job. Okay, now that I look nice and housewifey, the first thing I do is I separate the skin here at the legs so that I can see where the muscle connects. It makes for a lot easier cutting. And then I feel for the joint there. And what you can do is just push on the joint from the outside and you'll see it just breaks, kind of pops out. And then you cut in between that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, doing the same on the other side. I cut through the skin. My knife is really dull, by the way. So that's why I do a lot of sawing. A lot of sawing action there. But cut through the skin, push through the joint opens up pretty easily, and then you can cut through the layers, cut through those joints, talk to my kids in the meantime. I know it looks like I'm cutting straight towards my hand, but I'm actually cutting downwards, so I don't think I could cut my hand with this knife even if I wanted to. And then I try to separate the breast from the back side of the carcass. And there's a lot of bones. There's like the rib cage here. So I'll kind of pull it apart. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for the wings. And the wings, similar to the legs, trying to cut around that joint until you can pop the joint out like that and then cut in between them. Sometimes it's helpful to circularly cut around the joint because the skin connects a lot more than for some reason the skin is much more difficult to break through than the muscle itself. The muscle actually tears pretty easily. So once you got your two wings there, then you can get back to the rest of that carcass. So I kind of try, if you had a better knife, you could probably just cut right through those rib bones. I try to cut through and then I push down to get those bones broken, and then you can kind of pull it apart. And I don't know, this is the part where I go, I don't think I'm very professional. I really don't think I'm that professional here, but I am pulling it apart and then just cutting the pieces that don't tear easily. So now I've got my chicken all sectioned off. I've got the breast in one big piece with all the bones attached because those add a lot of nutrients. I've got the back side of the carcass, and I'm gonna shave off these extra pieces of skin and give them to my dog later on because the skin adds a lot of saturated fat, which we don't need that much. There's already plenty on the meat. So all the big extra loose pieces of skin, I just tend to cut off and I give to my dog. If I didn't have a dog, I don't think I'd add them to the soup anyways. Okay, washing my hands. You're gonna see me wash my hands a lot. And then what I do is I salt the chicken, and I salt it pretty heavily. This is not kosher salt, it's sea salt. So if you have kosher salt, it's not gonna be as salty. You're gonna need more of it. And then the legs, I always make sure that I salt the skin side. And that's because I'm gonna put it in the pot skin side down. And when you salt that skin, put it down. Oh, I'm gonna salt and pepper it. When you salt the skin and then pepper it and then put it down on a little bit of coconut oil, which is what I use, I heat up the pan a little bit on low, and then I add the oil, and then I turn it up till it gets nice and hot. And I have two pots going at the same time. Once I have that oil to a nice warm temperature, I use a coconut oil because the smoking point is much higher than olive oil. And I put the skin side down for the thighs, so the thigh and drumstick, and then for the back piece. And then I just throw the wings in there, and I put the breast on top. I don't put the breast skin side down because I feel like that meat is more delicate and it doesn't do well under high temperatures. So once I get that in the pot, I get a really good sear on it to add some color to it. And then I go for tons of garlic, like so much garlic, like cloves and cloves of garlic. And I probably do about 2 to 3 large onions. You can see I have 2 pots going here at the same time. And you know, one pot has the whole chicken, the other pot has, I think there was a bunch of thighs and drumsticks that were on sale, so I got those. And if I don't buy the package of, I don't know what it's called, veggies for making soup at Hofer or something, then I'll just grab whatever I have in the refrigerator. But generally speaking, a couple of carrots, onions, garlic is the base for everything. And then you'll see I'll put in a bay leaf. So I'll do whatever I've got in the fridge. I had these green onions or mlada cebula, which I thought were gonna go bad if I didn't use them, some peppercorns. And then once I feel the chicken has a really good sear on it, I'll add water. You can see I'm salting it more because even though you've salted the chicken, because there's so much water, you need to add more salt. And I like to salt it before it cooks because I feel it draws out a lot more flavor than if I try to salt it afterwards. Especially for meat, if you try to salt it afterwards, there's no way you can get that flavor into the meat the same way as if you salt it beforehand. So you can see here, I just found this pepper and I thought it's gonna go bad if I don't use it, so I'm just gonna throw it in there as well. You know, if you're not doing a lot of each one of these things, it's not gonna change the flavor, it's just gonna add a little bit of something to it. So once they are all covered, then I will bring them up to a simmer and then I cover them and leave them on a really low simmer for either 8 hours from morning till evening, or I start it in the evening and I do it overnight until morning. Bring it up to the simmer, but then I put it down on like a, you know, if it goes from 1 to 14, it's on a 3. And then the meat is really soft, but it's not overcooked, and you get really, really rich broth out of it. So once that's all done, you can see I've taken out the meat. The meat is still warm, which makes it a lot easier to take apart. And then I put the broth into jars like this. I know people say not to put jars in the freezer, but I have done that and it's worked just fine for me. So I have these jars and I won't fill them too close to the top. I'll put a couple of them in the freezer, or one of them in the freezer and the other one's in the fridge, and we will make delicious meals out of it, like a ramen, which I'll put up on the screen for you. So anyways, that's how I make delicious, nutritious chicken broths for the whole year. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.